We all know the importance of vocals in any song, and it is especially apparent when mixing a great vocalist like Courtney. In this clip, Dan shows his vocal chain for Courtney's clean singing, as well as the array of effects used to create the final tone. Check it out and enjoy.
So here I have the vocals, and these I have printed with Tune. I also have them printed with a Waves NS1 on there, which is a really awesome plugin. It just helps tame a little bit of room noise and like buzz and stuff like that. Even at its lowest setting, I pretty much always have it at the front of my vocal chain. Like you'll see it. I didn't commit these, so you'll see it. They're on some of my harmonies and stuff like that. Here's her vocal. I'm gonna go through the individual chain first, and then we'll get to the bus. Yeah, I'll start with the verse. Why not? I'm gonna turn off the sends. So, aforementioned NS1, auto-tune, given, right? Those are printed. I always like to start out with the REQ6 to boost. That's like pretty much my go-to every time. Shave off like anywhere between here and maybe 100, something like that, but just enough to get the rumble out. It's already a decent sound coming in, but it did need some EQ. So the challenge with the vocal chains in this song too is like, she's singing pretty soft for most of the song. Even in the chorus, she's singing soft. So I had to just be super careful. Like, I'll show you, I did a lot of volume writing rather than heavy compression because I felt like the delicateness in her voice was super important. I didn't want it to just be like this slammed out, super, super pop vocal in your face. It needed to sort of live among everything else in the song and feel open. That's why I chose gain reduction. The least aggressive vocal plugin. I'm not doing that much on it though, luckily. I'm keeping it mellow. Cool 74. Really though, it's just doing a tiny bit. Dirty gold, the colors change. Hands are frozen. It's just that little push. And then here's something I do a lot, especially for mics that aren't tube mics or vocalists that are singing a bit higher. I have the decapitator on, and I'm doing this. I'll play it for you with mix on full wet so you can hear what I'm dialing in. So I'm trying to create like a tube, sort of preampy, sort of tube sound, warm saturation that I can dial in very lightly, and we'll bypass that and bypass it so you can hear that. Dirty gold, the colors change. Hands are frozen, feel no pain. So it's a subtle lift in the low end that helps, especially with higher vocals. After that, I know you're supposed to de-ess before you compress. I've learned to do it after, and I'm really used to it, so that's what is happening here. Doing a pretty good amount. And you'll see why in a second. Dirty gold, the colors change. Hands are frozen, feel no pain. Finally, this guy pretty much always goes on the back of all my individual vocal chains, which is the UAD LA2A, which I think sounds amazing. And it's the legacy version. I think it comes for free with the UAD stuff. I love it. So this is going to live on all my lead vocals. And so, yeah, just really quick, I like to route my vocals because I'm going through the leads right now. So all my leads, I like to route to a bus by themselves. So these are all the vocals that are just going down the center. So it's like, this is what matters the most, right? My leads. And I have their own bus, sing LV, and my lead vocal has all my sends as well. Returns. These I'm not really using in my backgrounds. So I'm just treating the lead vocal like gold. It gets its own everything, gets its own sends, it gets its own bus. My backgrounds do too, but they're not sharing sends with my lead. I'm doing just inserts on these. These all go to a vocal folder just for cleanliness, but they're not being sent. So these are all living on their own. So that was my lead vocal chain. And then that's the individual chain, right? Each one of these has their own individual chain. I'm pretty sure they're mostly going to be the same. I have my verse 1, my verse 2. You know, sometimes I like to split it out for parts, right? So verse 2, I actually took out a little bit of low mids. Chorus is probably going to be a bit different. Got more high end. So I can just make those subtle changes, right? I'm not going to rely on just one vocal track for such a dynamic production. I want to have a track for each part. And I'll go over the chorus one in a second because there's some stuff going on. So here is my lead vocal bus where everything gets sent to. And remember, I went really heavy on the de-esser here, and it did seem to suck away quite a bit of her S's. However, I love my high end. I'm adding a healthy amount of 8K. S's are back. Right? Colors change. Hands are frozen. Feel no pain. I just wanna hold the flame. Negative feedback loop. So we're hitting that. Then we're hitting an API. And this was something I did later, closer to the final stages of the mix. I added some 20K and some 1.5K on the API here, just as a broad sweeping EQ to get the vocal to sit a little tighter in the mix. Get that like sweet brightness out of her. Dirty gold, the colors change. Hands are frozen. Feel no pain. Subtle. I just wanna hold the flame. Negative feedback loop. I'm spinning out. I gotta have the CLA vocals. Visionary and deepest fake. Dirty gold. So that's giving me a subtle brightness there. And then there's this mess, which you'll see how this works once I start turning everything on. But this was sort of like a tool I used to contain the vocal in the song. Visionary and deepest fake. Dirty gold, the colors change. And more. Hands are frozen. Feel no pain. And more. We'll see that in the chorus too. So I'm gonna turn all that on, and then we're gonna get to where all those dynamic cuts come in when I start playing the chorus. But first, I want to go through the sends that I have here. So this was something I did on this mix that I hadn't really done before. I'm an insert guy. So I experimented with sends on this one, and I really liked the way it turned out. I'm going to go through, I'm going to pre-fade all these. The old cycle send macro. So now we can listen to what I got going on. So I have 5 things here. Telephone slap. CLA Effects is one of my favorite plugins. I have the direct turned off, and it gives you a really cool sound. It's like, it gives you like a reverse, crazy reverse telephone driven kind of delay. The direct's turned off. I don't want it. So I've got that one going. Courtney hates the name of this because I called this track Wide Guy Courtney, and I was like mixing it. She points it. She's like, "Hey, what's that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just named it that." She's like, "Change it." And I was like, "No." But this is like a widener, and I use vocal synth to do it. I just wanna hold the flame. Negative feedback loop. I'm spinning out of. It's like kind of giving a breathiness to the vocal that helps it kind of like it's like a little layer, tiny layer underneath. It's so subtle, but it gives it such a boost as far as the presence of the vocal goes. And I'll play the vocal with these after I go through all of them. Next, I have H delay. Classic. Yep. all-time classic. Just for some back and forth. And then verb. Little de-essing before the reverb. Right room, Valhalla verb. And a little bit of the PS22 to spread it. It's not doing much, but finally, I have a bus I call Chino vocal, which is like the Chino from Deftones kind of effect. It's like sort of a chorusy, phasey effect. Kind of similar to Telephone Slap. But they work really well together, actually. So this one's got some tape phase on it. More filtered, more slap, more quarter. So these are all kind of working in tandem together to create space for the vocal. Oh, there's one more, actually. These I keep in a different spot because they're the more intense ones. I call this one Monster Vox. So this dude's just chilling below the whole time, and it just gives me a low octave, and it's mixed in so low. It's pretty much going the whole time. Carving out some lows. I didn't really want it that boomy. So now let me unprefade these, and we'll hear them in context. I love what that one does. See, so they're all just working together to just create this a feeling, right? So it was super fun for me to experiment with those because normally I'd just kind of be lazy, you know, I'd throw the CLA on the lead vocal, I'd throw some Valhalla on, be like, all right, cool, whatever, done. But I don't know, I felt like I really wanted to just bring some like interesting character to the vocal. I'll play solo too with the sends. Visionaire and deepest fake, dirty gold, the colors change.